consider the moment, and again, I'm going to say it over and over again for people watching at home. Imagine since 9/11, maybe since before then, if you remember the USS Cole, if you remember the attacks on the embassy in Kenya and Tanzania, Osama bin Laden is dead. That in and of itself is such a signature statement, such an amazing chapter in the history of our recent history. But then consider the moment. Consider the moment. We are near 10 years to the anniversary of 9/11. Look what has been happening in the region. So many people have said that it is a devastating blow to al-Qaeda to have a pro-democracy movement in Egypt, a pro-democracy movement in Tunisia, the government of Syria under severe stress cracking down on its people in a bloody, brutal, horrible way. In Libya tonight, one of Muammar Gaddafi's sons killed just yesterday in U.S. airstrikes. The question of what will happen in that country. All across the Arab world, all across the Middle East and North Africa, there is dramatic change. At issue in that change is not the United States of America. It's not per se the government of Saudi Arabia. All the rallying cries of Osama bin Laden are not the big issues in the dramatic change that is happening across the Arab world. So you have now, on this night, Wolf, with all this change playing out, in more than 20 Arab nations have had some form of political demonstration, some form of unrest in the past 2 or 3 months. And in the middle of that now, headline around the world, tomorrow morning when everybody wakes up on Monday, it's already Monday morning in the Middle East, is Osama bin Laden is dead. At a time of amazing foment and amazing change in the Middle East, to have this signature face of anti-American, anti-Western, anti-Saudi hatred killed, we can't understand. We do know what it will mean to the people in the United States. We do know what it will mean to the people who lost, the 3,000 plus who lost their lives on 9/11. We do perhaps have some understanding of what it will mean to them. What will it mean at a time when the most volatile region of the world is undergoing this amazing Arab Spring, this amazing sense of change that is more about empowering people, is about using the internet, using any means people can have in Syria and Libya and elsewhere to speak their voice, to ask for change. What will it mean? We don't know. But that it happens at this moment, I think, magnifies its significance exponentially.
It will send a rocket around the world to so many elements, John, as they watch what's going on, because this has been a determined U.S. effort for nearly 10 years to capture or kill bin Laden. We don't know the details other than we now believe he was killed in Afghanistan. There had been widespread speculation he and Ayman al-Zawahiri may be hiding out in Pakistan. We're told that the body, at least, has been recovered, and it is in Afghanistan right now, and they did the full analysis to make sure this, in fact, is bin Laden. Gloria Borger is watching all of this. Gloria, you know, as we hear what's going on, and as people around the country, indeed around the world, hear that bin Laden is dead, they're beginning to process the enormous historic moment right now, and I want you to weigh in.
Well, I think it is enormous, and as John was saying, every day since 9/11, in one form or another, people have been asking, why don't we get Osama bin Laden? Where is Osama bin Laden? I think this is a process that has gone on in the previous administration and continued into this administration. I'm very curious as to how this occurred. Was this a drone, for example? We know that Predator drones are being used so much more frequently, particularly in this administration. And in speaking with some people at the White House through my BlackBerry tonight, it was very clear to me that a very serious announcement was about to be made. I got one email from a senior advisor at the White House which had 3 words, which was "go to work." So it's very clear that the enormity, that this is an enormous story, and the White House, not only in trying to confirm everything about this process and try and tell the American people about it, but also needs to have exactly the right pitch and tone in their statement, because, as John pointed out, they're not just speaking to Americans where the reaction will be obvious, but they're speaking around the world, particularly to the Arab world. So I think that it's got to be very carefully worded. And this is something that we should all know. It's a search that's been going on since 9/11.
Our national security contributor, Fran Townsend, is on the phone. Fran was a former Homeland Security advisor to President Bush. During the Bush administration, immediately after 9/11, Fran, for years that followed, this was the goal: capture or kill bin Laden, dead or alive, in the words of the former president of the United States. It has now happened, Fran. Bin Laden is dead. It has occurred during the Obama administration. We're awaiting to hear from the president himself all the details he wants to share with the American people, indeed with the world. His aides probably will share more details. But I'm sure when you heard the confirmation that we got that bin Laden is dead, you must have been I can only imagine so thrilled, given the enormous work you and the Bush administration tried to do to kill bin Laden.
Well, Wolf, look, it really doesn't matter during what administration. It's an enormous moment for the country. Yes, it will be an enormous moment for this president, but really, Wolf, this goes beyond the usual politics of Washington. It's a tremendous achievement, and it's one of those things. We'll see what the president says. We'll see what we find out about the details. But this is one of those things that takes all the time and all the people over, as you say, 10 years to get to this moment.
I'm now told by a White House official, by the way, it's going to slip a little bit further, the president's statement, probably closer to 11:10 p.m. or even 11:15 p.m. Eastern. They're working on the final statement. They're making sure that all of the various contacts have been made. So we're now speculating maybe another 10 or 15 minutes from now, we'll hear directly from the president in the East Room of the White House. The network pool cameras are there. They are ready to go. The president will be ready to go shortly. He will formally make the dramatic announcement that Osama bin Laden is dead, confirmed dead. The U.S. has the body. That's the picture from the East Room of the White House. You'll see the president announce. We just lost that picture, but we will regain that picture. The president will walk in up to that podium and make the announcement and go into some detail, giving all of us some perspective on how this occurred, when it occurred, what it means. John, I'm also being told that as a precaution, a prudent precaution, U.S. military, national security, intelligence officials are taking steps right now in case bin Laden or al-Qaeda supporters plot or plan some sort of immediate retaliation.